And welcome in, gentlemen, once again to the Redemption iRacings. Just getting ready to go green flag racing here. Let's go ahead and go down our starting lineup for tonight's race. Starting on the front row, will be Xavier Regelbrugge and Joseph Smith. Row number 2, we'll have Kenneth Lowry and Landon Burbage. Row number 3 will have Nunez and Jordan. Number 4 will be Dallas and Vincent Nonzo. Row number will be Cody Blackmore and Stange. Row 6 will be John Crosby and Derrier. Row 6 will be John Tiller and Ryan Hall. And then rounding out the field will be Michael Badra and Lucien Thompson Parameter. I hope I said that right. Apologies. Green flag racing. We're off and away here at Rockingham Speedway. Lap 1 in the book. Joseph Smith, Xavier going at it for the top spot up at the front. They're in a dead even drag race coming off of turn 2, and it looks like Joseph Smith will be able to get the nudge over Xavier as they head into turns 3 and 4, coming around to lap 2, the completion of lap 2. And Joseph Smith, I mean, looking very strong. He's won the past 2 races, looking to make it 3 in a row here tonight. Xavier had a great weekend last week at Chicagoland, looking to get another top 3 on the night. And then Landon Burbage right there running in that 3rd position. I mean, these top 3 drivers right here for a majority of the season so far have been extraordinary and have put themselves in position week in and week out to go out there and contend for the win. And you see that happening right now. Burbage, Regelbrugge, and Smith, your top 3 current drivers, looking to put some distance between 4th place Kenneth Lowry, who we haven't really had much to say about Kenneth since the start of this season. He won the season opener at Daytona International Speedway, but that was a while ago. And the past couple of races, Texas and Chicagoland, we really didn't see him have that good of a run. He put himself in about the top 10 positioning. It's just really not having that momentum carry over from Daytona. And right now, I mean, he's doing what he needs to do in that 4th position. He's got Jordan Hand directly behind him, who has been pretty fast at these 1.5 miles. So Lowry, I mean, running in 4th, able to hold off Hand for the time being, really just trying to scratch his way towards that top 3 position. You see these guys a little further back. Cody Blackmore, John Crosby, Joshua Nunez, Dylan Carrier back there as well. These 4 drivers kind of just sorting things out between themselves, not really pushing the issue too early on, but you'll probably see some of these drivers really start to struggle with handling issues on these longer runs. This track is so demanding and so rough on these tire sets, so drivers really got to be mindful when they're running these couple early laps in a run, because you don't want to burn those tires up. And at a place like this, it will make you super tight but also super loose. And this front straightaway is not straight lined at all, so you kind of have to put some wheel into it when going on the front straightaway. The back straightaway pretty straight, but it is a hassle to get off the turn. I mean, I've only done a few races here, and I'll be quite honest, this track I am not the best at, and it is really difficult to try and tame this type of racetrack. And if Joseph Smith makes it 3 in a row this week, I mean, he would probably more than likely solidify himself as probably the top dog in this season so far. But I mean, again, We talked about it. Xavier Rogelbrugge right there behind him. Landon Burbridge all as well, putting himself in this battle. We're right on board with Landon here. Running a little bit higher than the two guys in front of him, trying to maybe try and find some speed, maybe just trying to get some clean air on that narrows. I'm not quite sure how much dirty air would be a factor this far back, but either way, he's searching to try and close that gap down that he lost on the top two. And, you know, I kind of like the line that he's running. I don't know if it's good to run this early in the race. Again, I've only done a handful of races, and these drivers had about 30 minutes of practice, so not the usual practice time that they have given, just because of the issues that happened when the server went up. So some of these drivers might also be trying to play it a little bit easier here, just trying to search, maybe get some more practice time in. But practice time will definitely, having that shortened practice time will affect these drivers probably a little bit more than they'd want. Now, these drivers in this league are all great at adjusting and being able to learn on the fly, and we'll probably see some guys later in this race maybe figure out something that they didn't figure out at the beginning of this race. And if I'm going to look for somebody, I'm probably going to look for Dylan Carrier or Joshua Nunez. Those drivers a little bit further back here in this pack, probably going to be able to move themselves up a few spots. Looking on board with Dylan Carrier, John Crosby in that green machine right behind him. The 84, Cody Blackmore, getting passed by Carrier on that bottom lane, and now looks like he'll lose another position to Crosby. So Blackmore losing 2 positions here, possibly a third, as Joshua Nunez working that inside lane. Looks like he'll be able to get around the 84 here off of 2, so Nunez able to follow the 2 in front who just cleared him, and now the 84 of Blackmore going to have some digging to do to maybe get at least 1 position back. Now, it's so interesting to see these drivers work around this track. I mean, riding on board with Blackmore, you can just see these guys in front of him all taking different lines. Even he took a different line on entry, entering a little bit higher, exiting a little bit lower. Those guys in front sort of doing the opposite, entering lower, exiting higher, depending on which driver you're looking at. So a lot of different lines being formed and used early on in tonight's race. Ryan Haller right here in the 19 looking to get around the 84 as well. And how about Xavier back here in second place for the time being? Able to keep in touch with Joseph Smith so far in this race. Now Xavier last week at Chicagoland was able to hang within the top 3 positions, ultimately finished third after running second majority of the night. But right now, I mean, he's doing just exactly what he needs to do, staying in tow with Joseph Smith, who, I mean, has been lights out from the drop of this season. keeping him in sight at least. And with a pit stop here, I think if I'm doing the math correctly, you would probably line up about 40-ish laps in. I could be wrong. It could be a little bit later than that. We'll see if this thing goes green, how long these guys stay out. But the second you get a pit stop, if you're Xavier, you probably want to try and undercut it maybe a lap to have that little bit fresher tire advantage and possibly be able to move yourself in front of the 31. Now, it's going to depend a lot on if Xavier and his team can make that call to get around Smith, because Smith is obviously going to be relying on what the 5 does. So if the 31 sees the 5 come down pit road, he's more than likely going to follow the next lap. Little change of position here for this 5th place. Lowry losing it to Stange in this, I believe that's a dark navy blue and yellow paint scheme here that he's running tonight. Those bright yellow rims really making him stand out on track, and I like this paint scheme a lot. It really vibes together quite well. The accents just go in tow. Looking to put himself possibly in the top 3 if he's able to catch Hand and Burbage. Burbage now falling back into the clutches of Jordan Hand, who is steadily kind of closed down that gap. And as I say that, it looks like he might have tagged the wall a bit there, which will definitely hurt if you do that a lot more. You don't want to hit that outside turn 2 wall quite as regular as you would probably need to be to maybe get it to turn. Now, turn 4, the exit of turn 4, not really too much of an issue. It's really narrow coming off of 2. You saw a Hand right there, almost hit it, might have actually scraped it again. Doing a good job at realizing where his car is and not smacking that outside turn 2 wall quite yet. But as this race goes on and that right front starts to wear more and more, you're just going to have difficulties trying to turn it down, especially with where he's running a little bit further up the track. You're going to need to get that thing pretty straight for an exit. Looking back at Stange, working on the back bumper of Jordan Hand. Now, if we go further back into the field, and as I said, we'll stay focused on this, as now it looks like Hand is going to have Stange to the inside and not really putting in too much of a fight there. He's just going to let that 29 go and go back to work on putting some decent laps down. So Hand making a smart decision here, 31 laps into this thing, to not put the battle too hard against that 29 machine. Now, if we go back to John Crosby, who we talked about a little bit earlier in this green and black machine, remember, he was the one last week at Chicagoland who was able to break up that Smith, Xavier, Landon Burbage top 4, and actually was able to finish, I believe, in 2nd place when it all was said and done. Right now in the 7th position, but really we didn't see him come to life till later in the race. He played his pit strategy cards just right to where he was able to gain a little bit of track position, and then from that he was just really putting himself in the right positions, making the right moves at the right time, and looks like he's going to now gain another spot. Lowry's going to fall back to 7th, Crosby up to 6th. So if history repeats itself, we could see Crosby up towards the top 3 when this race kind of gets about that 100 lap mark. That's really when we saw Crosby enter that top 3. And it's so interesting with drivers who might be able to benefit themselves on these longer green flag race runs compared to guys who might be a little bit better off on the short run speed. I know I was always a long run guy at most tracks. There are some tracks where I will say there is an issue with myself trying to keep things under tow. Mostly, I won't name too many tracks, but Dover was definitely one of the harder tracks for me to come and conquer, and Dover's kind of having the similar characteristics as this track. Both those tracks very bumpy, very difficult, very demanding, and not really giving you a lot of extra room to work with. This track a little bit unique, different, unique shaped compared to Dover, which is kind of your typical symmetrical track. This track, like I mentioned early in this race, has a kind of sort of curved front straightaway. You can see it from that camera shot. So you're not really ever getting a rest at a track like this, which really makes it difficult from inside the race car. And when you have 160 laps on the race, and what we've seen so far pretty much have green flag almost all the way through, it can really be a tough it can be tough on these drivers. And Joseph Smith, I mean, continuing to be out front, putting himself now at 1.6 seconds ahead of second place Xavier Rugglebrugge. The question is going to be, can anybody stop Joseph Smith? Because Joseph Smith has not put himself in any sort of predicaments that would give him a penalty or an issue or some sort of mistake either on the track or on pit road. And this 31 machine, he's going to have some lap traffic here to work through tonight, more than likely. Already see some up ahead of him. I believe that's Dallas Stewart in the 38 and Cody Blackmore in the 84 ahead of him. So those drivers in jeopardy of going a lap down, which lap traffic can always be a factor, especially if that second place driver is able to keep pace and you maybe have to check up for something, or you just start to get super tight. But I don't know if the lap traffic, I mean, the lap traffic ahead is pretty spread out, so I don't know if it'll really play that big of a factor. We'll see how these drivers decide to race Smith. Some guys might try and race him a little bit harder, trying to stay on the lead lap. Others might just kind of accept that they are going to go a lap down and not fight it too hard. But we'll see how it plays out for Smith, who is continuing to close in on these lap traffic drivers, and Xavier actually closing a little bit those past couple laps, which could be a sign that dirty air could be potentially affecting Smith in that 31. And remember, the other thing we saw last week at Chicagoland was these green flag runs really stretching the fuel out for these drivers. Some of them had to save throughout the whole race. Smith coming down pit road now. We'll see if Burbage follows. Yes, he will. So the top two on pit road. That'll cycle the lead out to Burbage, who is also working around on the pit road. So now Crosby will be scored as the race leader here. But yeah, last week we saw these drivers have to save a bit of fuel under each cycle. And that we saw drivers like Smith and Xavier clutch just to barely be able to make it to the end. I don't know if that's going to be a repeats thing here tonight. It could potentially be close. I don't think it's going to be as close because of how the speeds are. The longer runs are obviously going to slow things down a bit, where at Chicagoland, the speeds weren't quite as slowed down. And Crosby doing the same thing that he did last week, staying a little bit longer, maybe trying to gain some more positions on the green flag runs. That's where we really saw him start to come to life. Smith, 1 lap down, gonna get at least one of those laps back right here. Xavier right behind him as well, gonna follow. So those two will get their lap back and move themselves back onto the lead lap, which will put 6 cars on the lead lap. Jordan Hand looks like he potentially has either an issue or it got some sort of mechanical issue. He is 2 laps down, and actually I think he's back. I think he's still sitting in his box right now. So Jordan Hand having some sort of issues on pit road here. So after a decent start for the 48 of Hand, he's going to find himself in a early sort of hole to dig himself out of if he can't continue on, which I think now, I believe he is coming off of pit road. But 3 laps, if this thing, I mean, even if we see a caution, this thing could potentially be a game changer in the end to his night. Got Jordan Hand right there in front of the race leader, John Crosby. You see him right on the screen. So Hand potentially could have had a speeding penalty, maybe could have had just some extra difficulties when getting into his pit stall. But that's going to put him 3 laps down. Now Crosby going to work his way on the pit road, which will cycle the race lead to Vincent here in the number 3 car as soon as he gets around Crosby, who I think will lead another lap because of how his pit box is situated. We'll see here. You see these guys back behind him working through these guys who have continued to stay out, just trying to get a lap back, as that was a tight moment right there for the 40 and the 27. And that's really going to cause a checkup right here. And now you see Smith and Xavier side by side for the race lead, trying to work through some of these guys, lap traffic, guys who are continuing to stay out. Xavier right now with the top spot through all that, and like we mentioned, lap traffic can definitely be a big factor and change how these races come out to be. And right now, Xavier able to manage that lap traffic just a bit better than Smith was. A great job by both those drivers, though, to continue to race hard, but also realize the situation that they were in. Not only were they able to give each other plenty of room, they were also able to realize that there was a checkup in front of them and continue on without any incident. And now Smith going to get held up a little bit by the 88 on entry. Smith searching high, trying to get some clean air on the front nose of that machine. Not able to do it there through turns 3 and 4. We'll see what he does in 1 and 2. Not being given much room with the clean air on that bottom lane. Xavier doing a great job at defending and not giving him any extra sniff of clean air. But Smith still hanging in tow, doing a great job at it. Those two even through 3 and 4. Even the past couple laps. Xavier running a little bit higher. Smith able to get a nudge down below about half a car length on entry. See if that helps him down the back straightaway. He'll remain in tow for the time being. Xavier continuing to do a great job at not allowing Smith to get any clean air, taking his lane away. Xavier drove it in a bit deep there, maybe trying to pull away a bit here. The 73 of John Crosby trying to get his lap back. He's going to dive to the inside of Smith, and that's going to hurt Smith. Smith is going to have to give that position up, and now Smith's going to have to make up some time once that 73 car gets out from in between them. We'll see how the 73 is able to manage these two. He's going to have a faster guy behind him trying to work around him while also trying to work around the 27 car. Tight turn 2 right here for Smith. He's able to get around the 27 of Tiller, but he's still got the 73 right behind him. Oh, and the 84 right in front of the race leaders. A little bit of a moment right there at Cody Blackmore. That was very sketchy for the race leaders right there. That could have been dangerous. A nice job by those drivers to avoid it though. But Smith, the ultimate loser because of that, he's lost more time to Xavier. Almost a second distant gap between 1 and 2. The 73 now trying to work around Smith here. Again, the 73 car not on the lead lap. Just trying to get around Xavier to get that lead lap's position back. Doing a nice job at being patient and really not forcing the issue on Smith, as well as some of these lap cars. That's the 40 car of Joshua Nunez in between Xavier and Crosby. All right, let's see that incident with Cody Blackmore quick. Oh, looks like he just got tight and hit the wall, and a nice move there by Joseph Smith to avoid that. Almost got caught up in it, but was able to make the maneuver at the last second and avoided any damage that could have occurred. So nice job at Smith, but you see that really hurt him. He had to check up, lost a bit of time, had some guys trying to work their way around with fresher tires while also trying to work around lap down cars. So Smith having a difficult time here with this lap traffic compared to Xavier, who has had a little bit better luck so far. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go take our first commercial side-by-side break. You guys won't miss a thing. This is the Redemption iRacing Series live from Rockingham Speedway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Got a great car, great team. Let's go execute. Our time. We know what we gotta do. Play the fight between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
Fight to the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in Victory Lane.
Green flag is in the air. Driving with conviction. Side by side, hammer down. The afterchecks are lit. Count out anybody. Who wants it the most?
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving his guts out. Wheel to wheels, they come to the line. What a victory this will be.
Nobody wants it more than you.
Next flag has been ended.
Does he have enough?
A dominant performance.
Gonna stay down, baby. Let's go.
Can you believe what you are seeing? Everybody pushing as hard as they can in one final shot.
Gotta earn this thing. Run here to the end.
It is all on the table.
A total 500.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Redemption iRacing Series. We're here from Rockingham Speedway. Current rear Xavier Ruggie leading the way so far, able to get the race lead away from Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith looking to make it 3 in a row here tonight. We'll see if he can make a charge at Xavier, or if maybe Xavier is going to get his first win on the season here. Landon Burbage running strong in the 3rd position, 13 seconds back behind the race leader, but still holding his own in 3rd position. Hasn't let anybody really put too much pressure on him for this 3rd position, and if he's able to come out of here with a 3rd place finish, it would be definitely a strong showing for that team and just his whole team in general. 5 cars being on the lead lap at lap 78, coming around to 79. So drivers having some difficulties with not only the green flag pit stops, but also with just trying to make their way around this racetrack. A lot of these guys gonna need to probably bank off having a caution of some sort. There's at least 4 or 5 drivers who are multiple laps down as well, so those guys will need a little bit more luck on their side compared to the guys who are only 1 lap down. But that doesn't necessarily mean your race is over. It just means it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle, and you never know in these types of races and really how these things are going to play out, and it's not over until it's over. I mean, you see it all the time with these races. Things can change in a heartbeat. People can have issues. People can have just bad luck in general, and I mean, these races can be changed upside down in about a blink of an eye. Looks like we got some drivers hitting their pit road window. I believe we saw a Stange come down pit road right there. So he's going to start the green flag pit stop cycle, and that's about on par with where the lap count kind of is. We said it's about 40. I'd say it's probably about 40, 41, 42 laps maximum on a tank of fuel. Most of these guys are on their 38th lap. And I say probably, I'll readjust to saying maximum fuel is probably about 40, 41 laps. You probably could stretch it to about 43, 44 with how these laps kind of slow your momentum down a bit. So again, not really it's so hard to count on an actual number. We just have the data of what we go off of, which is just pretty much a couple quick lap times that are given back to us to estimate a fuel window. But with the longer run speeds, it kind of adds a few laps. And then also, if these drivers decide to save a bit, that'll also add a couple laps. So it can be difficult from my point of view here with how long these guys can actually go. And like we talked about last week, being a fuel strategy race down to the very last drop for most of these guys. I mean, we could see something like that tonight. I don't think that'll be the case. Could be a cause, but I think majority of these guys who are able to put themselves in the top 5 position and not make any mistakes down pit road will probably be able to put themselves in a top 5 positioning spot once you see the checkered flag. Xavier out front right now, pulling away from Joseph Smith, and really kind of a flip-flop from what we saw at the beginning of this race in their first about 40-45 laps. Xavier, we thought for sure had some speed. We weren't sure if he'd be able to get around Smith. This dirty air really playing a big factor with these cars now, and you see how big of a gap now Xavier has now that he has that clean air. So I think if Xavier is able to maintain this lead and keep that clean air, it'll be pretty hard for Smith to potentially make a move to get around him. But again, Xavier needs to have great pit entry, pit exits, needs to be able to hit his box correctly, doesn't want to overslide at all or have any speeding penalties, because that would obviously probably end his night at the race win. But I'm liking what I see from Xavier in this number 5 machine out front right now, really putting that gap over Smith. And Smith may be struggling here these past couple laps. He's lost a little bit more time. Looks like he's struggling with potentially a bit of tightness out of that race car. Doesn't look like he's able to get that car turned like he was earlier in the race. Again, more than likely going to be some dirty air playing into that factor, but it also depends on how hard he was going. And now he's going to work his way down pit road, which I expect to see Xavier probably come down this lap. Kenneth Lowry going to work to the inside, and that might cause Xavier a bit of chaos right there. That's going to cost him a bit of time. I don't see any damage though, but you definitely don't want to hit that outside wall. And as predicted, Xavier going to follow in on the pit road here. Gets it woed down without any issue, so he's going to move himself into his box here in just a moment, which will then cycle the race lead to Burbage if he decides to stay out. Looks like he potentially will be. And as I say, that actually looks like he's going to come down pit road. So Burbage will come down pit road. Crosby will be the next one up to take the race lead. Remember, Crosby stayed out a little bit extra longer. And some contact up in front of him. That's a 61 in the 84, or sorry, the 61 of Lewis. Hopefully I say your last name right. Lucian Thomas Parameter. I hope I said that correctly. He's got some front end damage here. Kenneth Lowry was also, looks like he got some damage from that. We'll take a look at it here potentially in a second, but things able to continue on underway. And remember, like we talked about, Lowry getting that win at Daytona, not able to carry the momentum on through these past couple of weeks. And again, having some bad luck here with now receiving some right front damage, which will definitely affect how that car handles. Ryan in the 19 coming up on screen, getting a lap back from our race leader. So the most we've seen out of these guys so far, lap completion, is about 50 laps on fuel and tires. Crosby is at lap 45 right now. And I'd probably expect Crosby to go another 5 to 6 laps before he potentially needs to come down pit road. Might be closer to 7 or 8, depending on how he's been able to save his fuel this run. And speaking of drivers, maybe saving fuel, I'm not sure if I heard Burbage shut it off right there. I think I did. Yeah, Landon's definitely shutting it off, coasting on in the entry, trying to save a bit of fuel. So drivers potentially realizing that they may need to save a bit like they did last week here. Right now, I mean, it's really looking like a repeat of last week where Crosby saving fuel early on in the race, staying out as long as he can so that that last green flag pit stop he won't need to take, or he won't need to save as much as these other guys around him. Xavier Smith, the battle heating up for second once again. Remember, Xavier has had the race lead from Joseph Smith for a while now, ever since that first green flag pit stop. And now Smith looking to the inside. He's going to challenge Xavier in turns 3 and 4. This could potentially decide who will be able to get that clean air advantage, and Xavier trying to fight back. Smith sliding up in front of him. So now Smith, once Crosby pits, will have that clean air advantage. We'll see if Xavier can keep in tow like he was earlier. Dylan Carey working down pit road, and Smith a bit of the contact with that outside wall, and now Xavier is going to be able to dive back into the inside. They're going to be side by side coming off of 2. Xavier trying to clear. So now Xavier moves himself back into that second position in what will be the race lead. And you see the damage done to that 31 machine, which could be crucial and significant damage. That is not where you want damage to happen on your race car. Some right front damage, potentially some right front splitter damage. I don't know if there is any though. Definitely hit that wall enough though to hurt that race car, and with what we've seen with Smith and how his car handles here in this dirty air, that's going to affect that and make it potentially even worse. So Xavier able to capitalize on a mistake out of Smith, which we really didn't expect to see, is going to allow him to put himself back in the top spot. Smith able to hang in tow for the time being, but Xavier, clean air advantage. You see Smith struggle a bit off of turn 2 there after receiving contact with the outside wall of turn number 4. A handful of laps to go. Potentially maybe trying to take it a little bit easier off the exits. Don't want to give yourself any more damage than you already have. Again, Xavier clutching, trying to save a bit of fuel. Smith probably doing the same as well. And let's not take away what these two drivers have done so far this race. I mean, they've lapped all the way up to almost pretty much themselves. Only 4 cars on the lead lap. Landon, the last driver on the lead lap, right in front of them. You kind of see him in that shot right there in that orange machine. Then it'll be Christopher Stange, the only one besides these top 2 drivers who will be on the lead lap. So Landon in jeopardy of going a lap down. And again, remember, these races, one caution, one mistake like we saw out of Joseph Smith could change the name of the game and could potentially give some of these guys who are lapped down another chance. Landon Burbage, though, now getting pressured from our race leader, Xavier Rugglebruggy. Xavier fighting on the inside, trying to put Landon a lap down. Landon fighting strong on that outside. He's going to be to the outside still of Xavier down the back straightaway. Landon not wanting to go this lap down. He wants to remain on that lead lap, but unfortunately, Xavier with a great turns 3 and 4 is going to be able to cycle himself out in front of Landon. So now Landon going to be 1 lap down, which will put only 3 cars on the lead lap here. They have a bit of a ways to go up until they get to the back bumper of the 29 of Christopher Stange. A battle for 7th heating up here. Vincent and Crosby going at it. Looks like Vincent might have some issues here. These past couple of laps, he's been getting pretty close to that outside wall. That's allowed Ryan back behind him in 10th position to close up on him. Ryan having a good night right now. Top 10 position. Probably has a chance to gain a few more spots in front of him. Keeping that car clean for the time being, though, which at a track like this is pretty difficult to do, and continuing to get top 10s and just click off those points that you will need, I mean, those will be really valuable. The 84 of Cody Blackmore, fresher tires, trying to get around race leader. So a lot of these guys, I mean, really shook up the strategy. Smith coming down pit road that last lap. Xavier, we'll see if he follows or decides to play it a bit longer. Remember, Smith does have that damage that he will not really get fixed because it is a green flag pit stop and you don't want to have to roll down pit road to get damage fixed, so he'll more than likely still be dealing with that. But once this thing goes through, I mean, Xavier looking strong out front, put the gap there between first and second by about a second, a little bit over a second. And I mean, this Clean Air has really done this number 5 car a great favor, and doesn't look like he has really any sort of pressure from behind, so just needs to continue to hit his marks, work through the lap traffic smart and safely, watch what these guys coming up on fresher tires will do, give them the lane that they may need or the space that they will potentially need as well. Don't put yourself in a bad position, because right now, with Xavier's race lead and what he's been able to accomplish so far in this race, really the only thing that could probably give up this win is himself. Or like I said, a late race caution could definitely change things. Stange in second probably wants to see this thing go green, as he's the last and second car on the lead lap currently. Now Xavier working through some lap traffic again. That's Ryan that we just talked about a few moments ago to his outside. He is going to go down a second lap again after just getting the second, or that 1 lap back. That'll put that'll put about 5-6 cars 1 lap down, and I'm trying to see, I think we saw Crosby come down pit road there, so Crosby now down a lap, which will leave only Xavier on the lead lap, which, if we do see a caution, I mean, it's not really going to hurt him too much. It'll definitely be an advantage to be the only one on the lead lap, but obviously, if you're this 5 team, you want to see this thing go green and put as many guys down the lap and continue just to put on a heck of a show out front here at Rockingham tonight. And remember, again, these guys will potentially need to make one more pit stop. They won't need to take a full can of fuel. I believe it's going to be about 20-ish laps that they'll need. So they probably will want the tires, but they might go less than 2 full cans of fuel just to add or take off a little bit extra added weight from that. All right, with 126 almost in the book, we're going to head and take our second and last side-by-side commercial break. Xavier out front for the time being. Joseph Smith, Landon Burbage trying to follow in suit, and you guys won't miss a thing. This is the Redemption iRacing Series live from Rockingham Speedway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, we saw it right there under the side-by-side view incident with Landon Burbage. He's now unfortunately had to tow himself back around pit road, and this is going to be a game changer right here as a caution at lap 128 is going to shuffle the field. It's going to allow these guys to come down pit road. Some of these guys getting their lap back as well. Xavier gonna more than likely be able to maintain the lead with what he's got over the rest of the field, but problems for Landon Burbage here. We're gonna go ahead and take a look here. Racing with the 73 of Crosby, and I believe it happened off of 2. Oh, some contact with the 37 and a hard hit on that inside wall. That was a 37 car of Michael Badra. Take a look at it one more time here. I don't know if the 37 thought he was clear, or if maybe it was just something where these drivers came together. But I mean, either way, Burbage with heavy contact with that inside wall, and that's gonna force him to spend a few laps under caution, getting towed and trying to get that car back into this race. Potentially could be a night ender though. Back at the front, green flag back underway here. Xavier leading the way once again. Smith, the only car in the lead lap besides Xavier. All these other guys deciding that coming down pit road was going to be more important for tires. So a bad night for Landon Burbage here. Contact with the 37, more than likely taking him out the race. He's behind the wall / on pit road trying to get some of that damage assessed and fixed. And like we were saying, a caution could change the name of the game here. And it kind of shook things up. Unfortunately, we didn't see Xavier come down pit road yet, so it really didn't allow any of these guys to get their lap back under green. But if we do see another caution, it will definitely shake things up once again, as you'll probably see some of these guys stay out now that they are more than likely good on field till the end. Potentially try and get a lap back, which then would put a lot of these guys on a lot of different strategies. And we already have some guys who decide not to pit that last time by or under that caution right there. Only, I think, 2 drivers elected to not come down pit road. Everybody else came down pit road, though, so not as a big difference for these drivers for the time being. They're all on equally matched tires and strategy. Smith running second right now, having that right side damage still. With 24 laps to go. 23 right there at the line. Xavier, after taking the race lead from Joseph Smith, able to get it, or lost it, then able to get it back away from Smith when dealing with some lap traffic, and then also some issues with Smith himself off at 4, able to put himself in the right position, able to keep himself right on the back bumper of Smith, and now it's all worked out in his favor. He'll have 21 laps to go this time by until he sees the checkered flag. And unless we see a caution, it's more than likely going to be an Xavier race win here at Rockingham Speedway. But again, he has 21 laps to go still. Still a lot of race left in tonight's event. Like we said, we never know when a caution could potentially fall. We saw the incident there with Burbage and the 37 of Michael Barra. Xavier catching the 37 here. Again, he was just involved in that incident. A couple laps to go with that 2-car of Landon Burbage. Burbage, after all that, currently being scored 6 laps down. He is on track. No, he's still not on track, unfortunately. Still sitting on pit road. And actually, as I said, I believe he is actually 16 laps down, not 6 laps down, but still sitting on pit road. Unfortunately, not able to get that damage fixed, it looks like, and he's going to go pull it back behind the wall. And with 18 laps to go, an unfortunate ending to the night of that 2 machine, who looks to be running so well in that top 5 positioning. And I wouldn't put blame on either really driver there. I mean, it looks like the 37 potentially thought he was a little bit more clear than he actually was, but this track being so narrow, especially after 2, just kind of doesn't allow a good spot to make a pass, and unfortunately that's where that pass tried to happen, and it just didn't work out, and both those drivers receiving damage. Like I said, Burbage getting the worst end of it. Smith with a little bit of a wiggle right there, trying to get around the 37 down the back straightaway. So Smith having some moments here with lap traffic once again, which has really been his Achilles heel all throughout the night tonight. It's just been trying to get through lap traffic, which has really cost him and hurt him quite a bit of time. The 38 of Dallas Stewart going down another lap. Currently 10 laps down with under 15 laps to go here from Rockingham. Coming to 12 laps to go this time by, and after the past 2 weeks of seeing Joseph Smith dominate and take home the checkered flag, Xavier looking to take one home himself and put an end to that winning streak that 31 of Joseph Smith had. Xavier's been in a position about every week so far and just has not been able to close the deal out, but right now looking to close this race out tonight with 11 laps to go here. Smith about 8.5 seconds back. More than likely not going to be able to catch unless we see a caution or he's able to somehow potentially gain an extra 1,000 horsepower and maybe some sort of speed boost. What will be 9 laps to go this time by for Xavier. Looking to cap it off. Crosby holding down third. 1 lap down. Trying to play that strategy out by making it longer than the rest of the guys, and then decide to come down pit road, and then the caution comes out, and that pretty much erased how that strategy went, but still able to hang on to this third position. Nunes in fourth. You'd have to go back about half a track in this black and yellow number 40 Micro Center machine. And then John Tiller in this 27, rounding out the top 5 so far. And a lot of these guys are spread out. Ryan trying to get around the 27 here, not for position, but trying to potentially close down on the back bumper of Blackmore in the 84. He's got a ways to go though, and with 7 laps to go, I'm not sure if he'll be able to get to the back bumper of the 84, but we'll see, as now he's going to dive to the inside of the 27 and now try and close that gap down on the driver in front of him. Dylan Carrier in the 7th position. Not really having any positions to gain or lose. Just needs to bring it home for these next 6 laps and stage in the 29. Remember, he's what shook up the top 5 last week. Just outside of it right now in the 6th position. Kind of in the same boat as well. Doesn't really have anybody to catch. Tiller entering 3. Christopher Staines just now about halfway down the back straightaway, so a big gap between a lot of these drivers. Four laps go this time by for Xavier. A 10.5 second lead over Joseph Smith. Continuing to put distance on him and the 31 who has struggled with this second half of the race tonight. Xavier putting himself in the position that he needs, able to get the race lead, the clean air, and do everything just right making the pit strategy call on top of that box look easy. 3 laps to go this time by. Or that time by, excuse me. It'll be 2 to go this time by. No lap traffic ahead. Clean track for the time being, out in front and out back. The last thing he'd want to see is a caution. He just needs to bring it home to that white flag, and he should be set. Xavier's going to come off at 4, and now he'll see the white flag being displayed. 1 lap to go here from Rockingham Speedway and the Redemption iRacing Series. Xavier just a few corners away from capturing the checkered flag. And through the final couple of turns, he'll work off at 4 down this front straightaway. And Xavier Rugglebruggy will see the checkered flag here at Rockingham Speedway after a fantastic last portion of this race. He'll be able to capture his first win on the season and do it over the dominating driver the past couple of weeks, Joseph Smith. And a fantastic burnout. What a burnout that was, ladies and gentlemen. He burned that thing all the way down to the ground, and I think I heard that engine pop. So Xavier burning it down after a well-deserved race win right there. Post-race coverage starting right now at the conclusion of this race, which is currently going to be taking place here. So stick around. We got interviews to come up and things to look at. Let's go ahead and get Xavier up in the booth here. Congrats, Xavier, on the race win.
Yes!
You're able to dominate with fashion. And
My God.
and how do you feel here? No, go ahead, celebrate. This is your race win.
Oh my God. Oh my. Well, first off, oh my God. What I was gonna say. First off, this one wasn't for me. I'm dedicating this win to my late grandpa who passed away in February. It broke my heart, man, and I haven't won a race since, like, I don't know, like October or something like that, so this one's for him.
Well, definitely a very
my God.
meaningful right there, and, you know, having to deal with passings, it always feels good to be back in victory lane and be able to close one out for family members either currently with us or not with us, and you made it look pretty easy right there, Xavier. You had Joseph Smith kind of in a bind there for a little bit when trying to work around lap traffic, but really able to put yourself in the right position about halfway through that race and came home with a dominating car. I mean, just tell me about how you're able to conquer tonight's race at Rockingham.
Oh man, well, me and Joseph were on a completely different plane of existence, to be quite frank. Jesus, we pulled like 5-6 seconds that first run, and then we pit this. I sent it in harder than Joseph. he still beat me out, but I was able to use lap traffic to get back around him, and after that, I just set sail. We had a little scare on the pit strategy. We were kind of playing games with each other, and we pit a little too early, so we were actually short like five or six laps of fuel, but that caution came out. That really helped. Joseph went down pit road. I know he slapped the wall and got some damage, but he also came in for fuel. So I was the only car on the lead lap when I came down pit road, and then after that, I just set sail.
Yeah, and you talk about that strategy. We kind of saw something similar last week at Chicagoland, where it really came down to the last couple of laps and what drivers were able to save under that green flag run. Now, like you mentioned, that caution didn't necessarily help or really hurt you. You were the only one on the lead lap, which kind of made things easier. And with Smith having damage and just his struggles throughout the night, I mean, allowed you to close with a and win in this season. I mean, what at this point do you do looking forward to these next couple of races? You have Portland next week, and then I believe we have Charlotte and Darlington. I mean, we got a ways off until the chase starts, but what is your goal at this point? Is it to just continue this momentum and capture more wins, or is it something where you really just expect to come home with the top 5, top 3, gaining as many points as you possibly can?
Oh, well, at this point, you know, I came in to Texas, my first race of the season, because I missed Daytona. I came in with expectation. All right, let's get the top 5. Let's keep it clean. Finish second. Okay, let's continue. Third. All right, let's keep continuing this. And now we're here at Rockingham, finally closing out a win. Man, if I showed up for Daytona, I'd probably be in contention for the regular season chip right now. But with not too many cars showing up every week, I think we have like less than 20 right now. You know, it's kind of hard to shrink that gap at the moment. The goal, just, you know, keep this momentum up, keep winning, keep racking off top 5s and get into the chase, because I think I'm just outside the cut line. Last I checked, I was about 41 points out. I don't know the exact mathematical or how many points I got this race. I know I won the stage and the race and led the most laps, so that's about maximum points right there. So hopefully that puts me just in the chase or just out of it. But man, come on, really, I'm so mad.
Well, congrats, Xavier, on the race win. You definitely deserved and earned it out there tonight. And again, able to capture it with not only domination, but just making yourself look like a championship contender. Before I let you go, celebrate, is there any sponsors you'd like to thank or any shouts you'd like to give?
Oh, man, well, I mean, shout out to Papa again. You know, it sucks we lost him, but, man, it's just so happy to finally, you know, win this for him. I know he's looking down. He's proud of me. Shout out to my grandma, obviously, who's in the chat. Shout out to my team, everyone on the team, Landon, Joseph, Josh, all of them. Shout out to Fish Speed, always making me fast, always helping me out, get faster every single week. Man, let's just continue this momentum. Let's go win Portland.
Alrighty, I love the sounds of that, and I hope we can be able to speak with you next week at Portland, and definitely expecting to see you in Victory Lane a few more times this season. Go celebrate your win, Xavier.
Yes, thank you.
Alrighty, that was Xavier Rugglebruggy. You heard how pumped up and excited he was right there. Let's go ahead and get our second place driver who is standing by. Let's bring Joseph Smith in here. Joseph, not the night that you wanted, some damage here after contact with Ford, and I also believe you had received some other damage as well. And then that caution definitely kind of hurt you there towards the end. What do you think did you need to maybe do differently or have go your way to take that race lead back from Xavier?
I just needed to go green. I was, even with the damage, I felt fine. My strategy, I kind of forced him to pit. I pit when we couldn't make it out of gas on purpose. And then, because I know, I've been good friends with him for like 6 years now. So I know he was gonna try and run it empty. So, yeah, I did that. I pit again when we could make it, and then I closed the gap back up to where I was beforehand. So like before the caution, I was like 6 seconds back, and knowing him, he was gonna try and run it empty. So I'm that it went the rest of the way and would the gas and have to pit, and hopefully the gap would be big enough to where I could win. Now it wasn't guaranteed because he probably could save the gas, but it was a 10 lap short. We were 10 laps short, so I was like, okay, there's no way. So yeah, I mean, I could have done a lot better with the lap traffic. I felt like they kind of weren't looking in the mirror, but I'm not gonna complain. I'm not mad, but yeah, I couldn't get through the traffic. Everyone, it just, yeah, it was a roadblock. The dirty air at Rockingham is horrific. It's actually, it feels a lot worse than any intermediate actually. And then I chasing down Xavier again. I slammed the outside wall, trying to. I had to change up my line mid corner because Dylan was coming in the pits. I probably didn't have to, but yeah, I hit the wall, caused damage, which definitely it definitely hurt the pace of the car a little bit. But I felt fine. I felt like with the strategy I'd made up, it would have worked. But I'm happy for him. It's been a while since he's won a league race, so I'm proud of him. We did good as a team. It was a good night. We lapped the field, so I'm definitely not complaining at all. But yeah, that's about it.
Well, it's always good to be able to come out of a race in a positive mindset and not be too down about a result, even if it didn't go your way or if it did go your way. Always good to be able to hear positivity. And as you look at Portland, is there any... I mean, I obviously this is being my first season broadcasting with you guys, so I don't know what all you drivers are like at certain, but how is it for you?
I literally back like a month ago. No, I also I had like never road course raced with this car, so I have no clue what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna hope I do good.
Well, you know what? If it's anything like we've seen so far this season, I expect probably another top 3, top 5 finish out of this 31 camp, and I'm sure it's going to be a heck of a race, and I'm sure you'll probably be up there contending for the race win, if not close to it. And before I let you go, is there any shouts you'd like to give, or any final comments, or any sponsors you'd like to thank?
I'd like to thank Fishbead, all the guys at Chesapeake Racing, and all my friends and family who watch the at home.
Alrighty, Smith. Thank you for taking a minute to speak with us, and hopefully we'll be able to speak with you again next week.
Thank you. Good night.
That was second place finisher Joseph Smith here. Unfortunately, not able to make it 3 in a row this week. Xavier put a halt to that and stalled it out at 2 wins in a row. Again, he won at Texas and Chicagoland. Xavier now taking Rockingham here. So these two drivers looking strong here early on in this season, and both potentially championship favorites. We heard Xavier gonna have some work to do to try and make up some points that he missed out on, but if he's able to keep the momentum building and able to continue to as close to points that he can, he should definitely be able to make them up, and we'll have to see how these next few races play out. And we have Portland next week. I intentionally did not make a promo for that, so we didn't get in trouble with that again. I'll definitely get more promos going for later in this season. I do want to mention we will be coming out with the official Turn Sector Media website very shortly, and I'm very happy to say that it's going to be a great hub page for a lot of these leagues. If you want to find out the latest news about either your favorite driver or your family member who's racing in this league, you'll be able to go there and read up on them. It's going to be coming out here shortly, this either tonight in a little bit or tomorrow afternoon / tomorrow evening. I can't wait for that to be posted, and before we go and head out, let's go ahead and take a look at the race results here. Xavier Rugglebrugge capturing the win here tonight over Joseph Smith, who finished second, but also was the only other driver on the lead lap at the end of this thing. John Crosby finishing third, Joshua Nunez in fourth, and John Tiller in fifth. Christopher Stange rounding out sixth, Dylan Carrier seventh, Blackmore eighth, Kohler, Vincent Onza. Then rounding up the field, we have Michael Badra, Kenneth Lowry, Lucian Thompson, Perement. Oh boy, I'm gonna learn your name. Permenter. I hope. Peremptor. I'm totally gonna botch your name. I'm so sorry. Then Dallas Stewart, Landon Burbage. Again, Landon had that unfortunate incident with Michael, which cost him to go, or cost him some significant heavy damage to that front end, and unfortunately brought him back behind the wall and never was able to get back on track. And then Jordan Handy, who had an early exit as well, 78 laps down, rounding out the field. So drivers with incidents here who are running good. Burbage, Hand, two drivers that looked to be potentially early contenders, but it all came down to the end. And Xavier was able to dominate the last half race and take record flag and put himself as one of the early championship favorites here at Redemption iRacing. Well, with things right here, we're going to go ahead and end this stream here. And I don't really have much else to go over. We unfortunately didn't get to speak with John Crosby there, our third place finisher, but we got to hear from the top two positions. And heading on to Portland next week, it'll be interesting. It's a road course. I don't think a lot of these drivers have probably been to this track before, and if they have, probably not a lot of experience, but we'll see who can tame the road course next week at Portland. Again, thank you guys for tuning in tonight with Turn Sector Media. I'm Oscar Jensen, once again here with the race commentary tonight, and I hope that you guys can tune in next week and also check out the website when it becomes available in public. Like I said, it's going to be really interesting, and I put a lot of work into it, and I think a lot of drivers are going to like it, and I think a lot of family members out there as well are going to enjoy being able to get in touch and follow the latest news on either their leagues or new leagues, and just kind of expand the horizon and change the name of the game. Until then, though, you guys have a great rest of your evening, your night, your day, wherever it may be, and we hope to see you guys back here on Turn Sector Media for Portland.
Racing isn't easy. Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Got a great car, Our time. We know what we gotta do. Stay in the fight. Between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
Fight to the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in victory lane.
Green flag is in the air. Driving with conviction. Side by side, hammer down. The after checks are lit. Count out anybody who wants it the most.
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving